That's
you
what
mind facing
started.
me so I can hear your voice down there?
You want me to come out?
I am.
You want us to get closer?
I don't mind.
Jimmy, move behind you guys.
Oh,
so
we
you
can
hear.
scoot closer if you want us to sit
That'd be
closer.
great.
Yeah.
I do
Jimmy,
that.
switch places with you guys so we can be closer in.
No.
We'll get out of the middle.
We'll just put this L right up under our nose.
There's a lot of people.
Yeah, they want to see if you got nostril hairs.
Nostril hairs.
I'll just
Roll over.
No, it's fine. You hadn't said anything before, and I thought I was like, does my voice sound funny today or something? I've been coughing a lot, but I think it's fine.
put it as close as I can hear you. You're not you doing the
Oh, man.
Was Lori coming, you know?
She hasn't said
I think you called her, didn't you, Jessica?
No, I don't have her number.
Oh, okay.
that. She didn't.
She's not a voting member, so it was
Oh,
whenever we were trying to, you know.
oh, we were
get
trying to
more.
make sure you had enough
Yeah.
voters,
Yeah.
so they wouldn't drive here for us.
She usually.
So so the established quorum, it has to be commissioners.
Right.
Because y'all are the only voting
Got you,
members.
got you, got you.
4 or 5, we're in good shape.
Ready to go? Ready to shake it? We ready to start? Let's do it.
If I'm sitting this close to the owl, I need to make sure I don't have
Is this
boogers in
on?
my nose or anything.
We turn this on.
Yeah, I already started. Okay. It's about 1 minute till they stop it out.
Can we
Well,
start?
good. I'm glad it just caught me
I can't tell you
checking my
that
verbal.
container.
Oh,
Oh, it's running.
Yeah.
Who that? I can't see.
Yeah, it just definitely caught me checking boogers in my nose and everything,
I was
trying to.
All right,
No, I
ready?
was. Oh, well. Welcome to the people.
We're officially ready?
Welcome to. Sorry, you're trying to pray and I'm talking about boogers.
No. Okay, so, good evening. This is the Opioid Abatement Committee. We're in room 1112 at the county building at Sumner County. And I will be calling this order to the meeting. I would like an invocation. Can I have someone give the invocation?
Let's bow our heads. Father, we thank you for this beautiful day that you've given us, Lord. Help us not to be too busy to enjoy the beauty that's around us this time of year. I pray, Father, that you would bless each one represented here, bless our time together as we continue to work to implement the plan to move this project forward. Pray that you continue to bless our county, Father, bless our world events, our nation. Just keep us safe, give us your peace, forgive us where we fail you, Father, in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I asked to put the Pledge of Allegiance on here because I'm, one of those old school people, and we have a flag, so I think it's Pledge of
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hi, guys.
Like approval of the agenda, do I hear a motion?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approval of the minutes.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Recognition of the public. Is there anyone here that would like to be recognized? Okay, we'll close recognition of the public. Report of the chairman. I don't have anything to report other than what we're going to be doing tonight because we're kind of in a flux. So right now I have no report for our group. So we'll move to old business, and I'd like to make a motion. I don't know if I can do that, but I'd like to make a motion to discuss this in sequence instead of a motion for each one. Can I do that?
Yeah. We want to group and approve? Or group and discuss?
Group and approve, group and discuss, yeah.
Second.
At the end, you mean? Or,
No, just through here.
oh, I understand. Just talk about them all at the same time.
General
Yeah.
discussion.
Gotcha.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great. So our first discussion is submission process and website. I asked our IT director to be here tonight to show you what he has done to the website so far, to kind of give us an update. Go ahead. Okay, great.
Brenda, the only thing that we've changed since last time you guys were here is we did make the distinction between doing the SELB group email to actually assign it to an administrator, whoever you guys are gonna hire to do that. Because y'all had expressed you wanted to make sure those forms went to that person. So we made that selection. And of course, like we've discussed, when you go to the website, first thing you do is your eyes go right. We made sure that it was listed here as well. That's the first email they're gonna see. We did put the group email over here for you guys. It was discussed possibly listing you each out single, but you know, that's totally up to you. But if anybody's gonna send you an email, you're gonna share it anyway, so I'm kind of saying you should leave it as a group, kind of like when you email county commissioners, everyone gets it. That way you're not responsible for sending it to all the other 6 or 7 members of your group. And
Does that include the administrator too? Of the
absolutely,
group? Okay.
yes.
Okay.
That person would be part of that as well. It is my understanding, and Eric, correct me if I'm wrong, I think Steve is reviewing our forms.
Yes.
Do we have, so, yeah. As soon as he gets back with us and gives us that approval, we'll be ready to go live whenever you guys give us the green light on that.
Okay.
And if there's any changes you want to make, like I said, this is still a work in progress. So anything can be changed to your pleasing, as long as it meets certain guidelines, and legal don't have a problem with it. We
So-
can make that kind of,
So Robert, there'll be when they click here, what,
which part, sir?
at the very bottom, oh, okay, it goes on down.
Yeah.
There'll be a link there for an application that's online?
Yes, sir, this is the application right here.
Right, okay.
And when you click that link, it takes you to the forms.
Perfect,
And they're all here, and that's what Mr. Steve in the law office is going over.
okay.
Everything's there. If you click on learn more about the council, it's going to take you to
State.
the state site. Yes, sir.
Perfect.
And if you click here for the approved recommendation list, it's going to take you to the state approved
Okay.
list. It's all listed there for you to review and for anyone who's trying to apply for this. And the link that you guys have in your email, at any time, as long as you have it, it's live for you to view, but public cannot see it. So anytime you want to click on that and review it, make notes, if there's changes you want to make, bring them to the meeting. We'll be happy to look at it and see if we can do it.
Sounds wonderful.
Yes, ma'am.
You did a great job, thank you.
Well, it wasn't just me, it was our web guy too.
Yeah.
Mr. James, so,
Okay, tell them we
We-
can.
absolutely. I'll leave that up if y'all want to look at it after the meeting or anything.
All right, thank you.
Y'all need anything, just let me know.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, Robert. Appreciate you.
You're welcome.
We have a discussion of CTAS. Anybody have any questions about the website or anything like that? I think it looks great.
It does, it's real
Me,
nice.
now, I'm a web person because I taught school professor and I critique people on their stuff. I would have a little bit more, a few other little icons in there, but I don't want to muck it up a little bit. So it looks really good. So on the CTAS documentation, that's what he's talking about as far as the forms. I think that we have to wait on approval. So that's been on old business because until we get that approved, then we can't really do anything else. And I really would like to have our coordinator in place too as we start rolling on this.
Yeah.
I don't know how y'all feel about, how you guys feel about it.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think that's
That way the
Project number
coordinator's
one.
on the ground and
Yeah.
goes.
priority
right. Yeah.
one
Yeah,
is to get that.
because without that person, you know, it's kind of,
Yeah.
all the balls are in the air.
Do you want to drop CTAS documentation from old business?
Yes, please.
Okay.
The Health Survey and Goals Coalition, we had that last time. And again, that's part of the Survey Goals Coalition that we'll work with the coordinator on. That survey shows where our hot points are as far as overdoses and, you know, the things that we need as a county to kind of identify as far as health. And the coalition has goals as well. I have it in my book here. I don't know if y'all looked at what we had, but theirs are similar, and they were here last time to talk about that. And I'll ask them to come back.
They're here today. There's a rep here today.
Oh, sorry, Duh. I'm sorry. You're not invisible. So in respect to that, I think that's the same pretty much thing that the opioid abatement program is recognizing. Am I correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so your goals are essentially the same as the opioid abatement.
Yes, so we cover multiple substances, but opioids are one of the substances we covered in primary
Okay.
prevention with opioids.
And And that is I have a question about that too as well for opioid abatement. It's, in the guidelines, it talks about like naloxone and all that. And there are things that cause you to become opioid addicted, and it's, different aspects of mental health like alcoholism and, depression and things like that. And I wonder if any of that money can be used for programs respective to that, like addiction anyway. What addiction itself is not just opioids, it's just a lot of things. It's a big...
They've really opened up. This is a weird situation. From what I've interpreted on what I read is, I'm sorry, I should have asked if I could speak.
Yes, go ahead.
They're trying to give the money away, and they're having to open up people that are eligible to receive it. So the easier way for me to address this versus what ifing this to death is if you've got some specific needs, then we can either reach out to CTAS or the state directly and see if this is an eligible area of fund disbursement. I think that would be the best way to go, is to come up with the ideas and hit them.
Okay, that sounds
Be
great.
fact-based in our question.
All right, yeah. So I that was something I wanted to ask about, because myself, I deal with people, in my practice, I deal with people that are opioid addicted or opioid naive, or they have addiction issues. And so I don't look at it as just one little thing. It's a multitude of things. So like you said, if we have something, we need to reach out to CTAS and see if it would fill in that bucket. Okay. Statistic on opioid deaths, we had that from the sheriff's office last time, and he's not here today. That too has to come in line with the coordinator and the health survey. How is this opioid death issue? Is it in the jails? Is it in the community? What's the biggest problem that we're having, as far as opioid? I think a lot of it's outside of, in the community, and maybe sometimes we're not aware, but it is it's something that we're probably going to be looking at when we do our disbursement on who has the biggest problem with opioid deaths. How do you all feel about that?
I think you're right on track, but again, I think a lot of this is going to be for the coordinator to actually get in and crunch the data and roll back to us of thoughts of where the allocations of money can go.
Right.
Obviously, I think that the sheriff's department is hands-on with EMS and sees it first. Probably more so than anybody else. Even if somebody's intoxicated and brought to jail, Commissioner Sullivan and I know that can go either way. It can be alcohol or drugs or hallucinogens or whatever, but once they're there in the custody of the sheriff, then the sheriff has to take care of it. So
That's true. Well, that's where I had some ideas I had written out on that in reviewing some of this other stuff we're going to talk about, which is appointing, a replacement. So thinking about when you talked about EMS in the sheriff's department, we have a sheriff's representative, but we don't have an EMS representative.
mm-hmm.
I thought, an EMT or paramedic that, would be willing to share and sit on this board might be, helpful to give us their real life experience and be on the board to kind of guide it in that way too, and what their needs are,
I was thinking too, of course, I work at Vol State, but would we want somebody from the educational world that's teaching those first responders and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, would that be another angle that we
It
could?
is. You've
I
got,
mean, I don't know.
because you have the instructor, paramedic instructors,
Correct.
EMS instructors over there that are doing that. We also have instructors at the county, like our
Right.
county paramedics that teach ACLS and all that stuff. So, and that's what I was thinking, we need to think outside
multitude
the
of people.
box, because those are the people, like you said, who are first hand on.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
I like it
Let it off.
a lot.
Yeah.
I like that.
Well, you hit on a couple of things all at once. So first is the report from the sheriff. To
Yes.
go down Commissioner Rogers' route, that's gonna be a very skewed report because they're in custody. I think that's gonna be too much of a very limited scope. I don't know how much it'll give, but it goes all the way back to the coordinator. I think we really need to be focused on the coordinator getting filled before all of these questions. They're just gonna continue to be old business till we get a coordinator to run with it and do the research that you want done. As far as appointing, since you kind of dovetailed into that, that's on new business, but, did you ever get clarification? I believe you are a subcommittee of budget, right?
Yes.
So we're gonna
We did
need some
not- we have to
clarification
get-
who appoints.
That needs to go to budget. That has to go to budget this next time. That needs to be on their agenda, along with this other thing, because that has to happen sooner than later. And that will help us get, because
As far as the 50, I'm sorry.
well, it's and you can interrupt too, I don't care, I'm not one of these, so you can interrupt.
But you were saying, as far as the 50-50 split on the salary and where that's gonna
No,
come from? or-
no, we don't wanna do that. We wanna keep that coordinator, 100%.
Okay.
Am I right?
She's
We won't
talking
put
about
it that way, but I'll talk about it next
Yeah,
one.
he'll
she's talking about the replacement for judge, would have to come from the budget.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah, the judge.
Budget has to appoint that person. Like,
Yeah.
we could suggest, but they have to actually appoint.
So, how do you, I mean, we had talked last time
No, I
about
meant that
having
replacement for
the,
appointment.
Oh, the judge.
the falling off, like 2-year on, not rotating people. And we had talked about putting it, maybe asking budget to put it on committee on committees, so that, cause trust me, I'm not gonna be here in 18 years. I'll be busy.
Have you thought about asking budget to allow the commissioners to appoint the other members? They basically appoint you guys each year, every other year, then you appoint all the remaining members.
We can't.
Like the judge when they
That's,
leave. That would be the same.
that would be fine, and that's kind of where I was headed, but you're still gonna need to get the sign off from budget.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They can
But that's
do that.
possible,
To
but
do
we
the-
could just,
basically get the budget committee to approve, or initially, and then put it to committees or whoever for the 5 commissioners. And then the way the committee works, that they appoint the remaining members up to 3 or how many ever the committee.
Yeah,
Let you guys appoint those, and it kind of clears it up a whole lot.
I think that would make it a lot faster.
Faster, yeah.
Well, it removes a 30-day gap.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, if we're having to wait for budget meetings and all that
yeah,
stuff. so.
I think that's a very good idea. So I would suggest we bring that to budget.
Just email it to Miss Browning, or we'll tell her from these minutes. We'll give her a copy of the minutes and we'll get it on budget.
Okay. So that was, that, and then, so that brings us to, we already have our appointment of secretary.
So that needs to be removed, I think, from old business.
Yeah.
Who did y'all appoint for secretary, may I ask?
Someone from the clerk's office.
So you don't want the actual coordinator to be the secretary, or?
I think we discussed last time that they needed to be more involved in the discussion than worried about minute taking.
Okay, because we're gonna send Jessica down, so we're gonna use the clerk or Jessica?
Oh, it don't matter, yeah.
I don't.
Was it the
I
clerk's
don't
office or
think-
Jessica? That was Jessica that emailed you, it may not have been the clerk's office, I'm not sure, we're confused.
I don't know who emailed me back.
It was Jessica, it was
You're
actually-
here.
That,
to
I
do
got
this.
asked because y'all needed somebody, and so
Right,
I.
so
Do
you
you
have
wanna
somebody
do
else?
this?
I don't
It
care.
came
I
from
kind of
me.
semi-drafted her, and I'll talk about, did we ask the clerk's office, or was it Jessica that talked to her?
Either way, it's fine with me.
I nominate Jessica to be the secretary.
So say.
Well, then
All in
take
favor, say aye.
Alright.
Well,
There you go.
There's just two different things, and that's what
Welcome aboard.
I want to point out, we're talking minute taker versus secretary.
That's what I
because-
wanted to be
Because
clear
right now,
on.
like
because-
budget and
Okay.
finance, I am officially
Just withdraw.
designated by private act as their secretary because I have to review and make sure they're okay. We have a minute taker that actually takes the minutes. So in other words, I go back and review to make sure the content.
Yeah, that's not what we fixed.
So I think really you want your coordinator to be the secretary, and then we'll just get you a minute
Yes.
person like Jessica. Because you don't want her to
Yes.
approve it, you want the coordinator to approve
To
the
approve the
minutes.
minutes.
Yes.
So I think you really want to appoint the
Some
coordinator.
of it.
Yeah, so the secretary would be the coordinator.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
let's
officially.
Do I need
and
to
then-
restate that?
Yes, sir.
So I would like to appoint Jessica to be the note taker for this committee.
Okay, second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I don't
You're
think
the
y'all even
minute
We didn't have to do that.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
fine.
And then you appoint the coordinator,
And
but it's on
then appoint-
record.
and then,
We're going
we're
above
gonna
and beyond.
Right.
Look at us.
So the next motion is to appoint the coordinator as the secretary.
I think we need a coordinator
Yeah,
in
that
place
just,
first.
those E and F just need to roll to old business
Right.
to you. Well, no, I'm sorry,
Well, if you
E
make
needs
them
to
by
roll to
default,
old
then when
business.
when they're hired, then
Will
they'll
be
become.
combined, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you gotta approve it now, then they'll become if you just put it to the position, then they'll become,
They'll be
by
part
default,
of
if you
it.
voted tonight to the position, then they will be up on hiring.
Right, okay, that's what we'll do.
So is that gonna be a motion now?
Second.
Second. So, I mean, approve, all in favor?
Aye.
Are we
There you
getting you
go.
confused
There's
down
your
there? I'm good with that. Review of the job description for the coordinator. There was some changes that we wanted, or we want to go back to some changes that we had suggested, but we want to reverse that. Am I correct?
Do you want me to just talk about what's
Yes.
here right now?
Yeah.
Okay, my concern is the coordinator after the first 6 months will not be a full-time position. You have money in the opioid enough to pay for a full-time position, and you have it in the unrestricted, which means it can be used for anything. So what I'm proposing, and I've got the job description in here, is you actually, because you're gonna need somebody to supervise them, because committees do not supervise other than through the private acts.
Right.
So what I'm proposing is that we hire a grant accountant that would be under my office. We'll supervise them, and if there's any issues, you let me know, and we'll take care of it. This is the job description, pretty close to what you had, except I added other duties, so in other words,
For the
if they're not
finance.
working on this, they'll work on the other stuff, but their primary duty will be opioid, and if we run out of, say, they can't get the job done, then we'll talk about overtime, and I'll assign another staff member to help them, because I don't know the load, it may vary significantly, but either way, we'll handle it. And this is the job description. I made very few changes except for other duties and who they answer to. I think Ms. Brown reviewed, I made very few, she may have made a few before that, because I had her to review it, because I was tired of it.
No, I think we were good with that last time.
Yeah, it was, only thing I think was changed was the name of the county.
Yeah, no, I think
It was
we were
very
all
little.
good with finance director
I
stuff.
added like 2 or 3 sentences in here for extra duties
We
that they
also,
didn't understand.
was my understanding too, that we wanted to go back to having someone with a master's degree with,
Correct.
It says bachelor's with master's highly preferred.
Right, because you guys wanted a bachelor's, so I thought bachelor's with master's highly preferred. The last one I heard had an MBA. So does that help generally? My thought process, if you approve this and give me enough flexibility, then I'll hire somebody that needs pretty close. I don't know if they'll be exactly financed 100%,
Sure.
but we'll have to find somebody, and then that brings us to the discussion of the salary. And here's 2 things I want to do, and this is, and Eric, right now, by and large, the county, other than department heads, and I think the county engineer and the staff attorney are given comp time or other time. I want to make this position purely exempt, just like the job description. From now on in finance, when I start hiring, because I've got a lot of degreed individuals, my plan in the future is to ask for enough funding to make them all exempt versus overtime, because we're exceeding. So when that brings me up to the job discussion, currently a comparable employee that earns comp in the county is about $84,000. So I'd like to ask the committee somewhere between 80 and 95 to allow a variance for me to go out and try to retain somebody, somewhere in that mark. And I think you can probably grab somebody with, and I think we have on here 10 years of experience, or 5?
10.
10. So I may be able to get 10, I may have to go down on years of experience. I'm not really sure. The finance job market's not really,
That's
not a lot
on-
of extra candidates out there. but
This is
there's-
honestly a lot less than I anticipated.
5 to 10 years?
I was expecting 6 figures,
yeah.
easy.
And that may be where we come back to. I'm gonna try at 80 to 95, but we'll have enough time
For
to come back.
a person with an MBA
Yeah,
in finance?
The existing one we have right now is gonna need to be on finance. Or we can look at the 80 to 100, and I can look at that
I
range.
think I would, and that would actually make this 5 to 10 years. Not
Okay.
10 years, that's too limiting.
Just give me enough
I
power.
wanna
to-
do
You have
80.
flexibility, if you have
Give-
somebody 7 years, then you
Yeah.
don't wanna say, well, I'm sorry, you don't have 10.
And give me some flexibility on the type of degree. I'm aiming for finance and accounting, but if I find something very close. Historically, we go out and hunt people and you get a lot of candidates, very few that we mark back in that's actually applicable, and we have several lately that's not passed their background checks.
Yeah, we've had
They're
that
not
issue.
usually large things, but they're small enough that I wouldn't bring them into the office. I
Not
don't
making
anything.
85 grand a year.
Can I review this statement? Minimum qualifications is a bachelor's degree, master's degree highly preferred in, and I would suggest in accounting and or finance
Right,
instead of
In
or,
accounting or.
with at least 5 to 10 years
yeah.
of applicable work experience required.
And the things give me enough flexibility to move if we come in. Well, if you go down to 5, I don't think we want anybody less than 5. There's gonna be such a curve, I might as well be down here in the committee myself, technically.
Okay.
And which, I'm not gonna be. a good
So
fit.
do we, let's vote on this. minimum
There's two recommendations on the voting here procedurally. One is the amendments, and then two, so that he can move as quick as possible, go ahead and vote to send this out for prospective applicants.
Well, if they just go ahead and send it to budget for funding, then I'll go hire the applicant based on the, so I think it's more to send it on up to budget for requested funding.
They're not gonna have to, that lets you pull the trigger automatically?
Once a budget, because I don't wanna hire somebody without the funding, once the budget approves it, then I'll go out and as soon as it's that budget, if they approve, we'll actually go ahead and prepare it in the paper and all the other places with the job description.
So then the second budget is to move this item to budget?
Right,
Okay.
so the salary request will go to budget,
What did we just set the salary at?
$80 to $100.
80 to 100 or 85 to 100?
Once let's put 80 to 100, I say you're gonna run 85 at least to get what we're
Okay.
looking at. And we maybe end up back to a bachelor's degree from that. We could probably get somebody pretty fresh out of college with a CPA, but I don't think they'll have the experience.
They won't have 6 out of you,
Good
run into the
shape.
experience.
And then the same thing, when they get the experience, they're going to move on fairly quickly too.
That's what I was gonna say is, part of the reason I said that it's less than they expect is because you don't want somebody that's coming in here and might make 85, but then knowing that they can turn around and go somewhere else and make a lot more
Well, you
money.
gotta make
Then you
it,
gotta start all over.
And then you gotta start all over again. That's my fear, is
you
I,
gotta give it some.
We don't want to be a training ground for them, so if
Right.
they come in and they don't know what me and my staff's gonna pick up to train them, which is gonna be
Right.
time issues.
It's not
and
gonna
then-
be good.
And then they're gonna turn over at the same time, and it's gonna be a perpetual cycle.
This is a long-term process, this is a very long time, 18 years, what, expectations for this to go on, so,
It's a retirement job for somebody.
yeah.
Start to finish.
Yeah.
Make it
So
what
I
they
would
want it
say
to be.
that's-
We'll aim for a long-term employee, so that's what we're gonna look for, and try to, for a better word, steal it from somewhere where they have a good track record.
And
I don't know
it's-
the 100's gonna steal you somebody from a track record, so even at 100, but we're gonna get somebody with a good track record, we're probably not gonna get,
so that was
with a
another,
long track record, you're gonna get somebody from the 5 to 10.
do we need to go 85 to, or 80 to
I was thinking-
120? I mean,
Give 80 to 120, and I'll grab the reasonable mark in there.
Grab the median.
We'll
I don't
grab
feel like you're the
the
person.
best candidate for the dollars, we're not.
I don't feel like you're gonna go out there and say like, I'm going to spend this much money, what can I get for it? Like, that's not your
We're
MO,
going
so-
to look at the candidates to find the best one that we think will last.
Okay,
Will that happen? Hopefully. I've interviewed a lot of people, but it's not always.
I just know from working with the Resource Authority, I'm trying to find a new director, and the competition out there and the people that are working in the business, you're not gonna find somebody with the 80, under $80,000
Absolutely
skill
not.
sets and stuff like that. That's just not reasonable, not in this world.
Not with the level of experience that we're hoping for.
Right.
Can you give preference to grant writing and that kind of stuff when you're?
We will when we write the
Perfect.
thing. Basically, we're gonna lean toward, they're gonna have to be strong in accounting because they gotta understand it. But they're gonna be, the main thing's gonna be grant writing, grant retaining, and there's another thing I was thinking about. Not necessarily in the description, but things that's gonna help you out. And if they've had any experience in opioid, or even if they worked as an accountant, potentially in the drug market.
Drug
would
field,
be.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But they won't understand government accounting, but that's.
The opioid abatement.
Sure.
Not the use of.
I don't think, I don't think we can find anybody directly to that. That's gonna be too.
Non-consumption.
That's gonna be too niche that we're not gonna probably find that.
There's no,
I mean,
So, I don't know if I need to make this in 2 separate motions. Eric, you may be able to can make a motion to approve the job description with the salary attached of 80 to 120.
And ask for enough flexibility that if I need to make small changes to get you somebody, we don't know the market.
Yeah.
That's just really amending her amendment, so we're good.
yeah. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, we're good.
Can I mention one more thing?
Gotta go
Come on.
budget.
It's not to do with this
Yeah.
person. The minutes, Jessica's gonna keep the minutes, we pay that through county commission, but we pay her
You should-
we usually pay her to keep the minutes during her office, and right now we're like slammed, so my plan is to pay her overtime for the actual writing of the minutes.
Yeah.
So if it's okay to ask them to amend enough to pay her overtime out of the opioid funds,
Yes,
the
So moved.
unrestricted, which won't be a
Second.
large amount.
all in favor?
Aye.
Wouldn't ask, but we're so slammed down there, we might be extra.
No, I think we had talked
You
about
could pull that
that.
out of the unrestricted, right?
We can both.
Yeah,
of
like
them.
I
Yeah.
don't have to do them at
Yes.
home probably.
This is
Sorry.
what's nice
No,
about
it's
it.
okay.
She said, I can do it at the
Oh,
basketball
oh.
game, I don't care.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, so,
We usually do them in the office, but we can.
So this will roll to budget next month, and then
Yeah.
you can immediately start hiring, right?
Process.
As soon as the budget approves, and I'm gonna go ahead and advertise it out, because if for some reason it didn't make it through commission, still we wouldn't have the
Right.
dates back.
Perfect.
They don't wanna make a promise with the funding in hand.
Okay.
And then as soon as we hire, we'll bring somebody down to the committee, and if the committee has any issues, contact my office through Jessica there, Beth, and we'll.
So we could be looking January probably, before they even come in and start.
Yeah, because we
2 week
spend a lot of
notice.
vetting, because we'll put it in the paper, we'll interview, and then we'll do background checks. on them.
Right.
It usually takes a couple, well, you
To make sure, and we've had people fill. the
Right, so I'm saying
background check.
Thanksgiving and then Christmas,
Very good employees. So we won't, if they fail the background check, they don't,
they don't go no.
even for minor things, we don't.
Yeah, we don't even need to know their name.
so the, next thing is agenda requirements for budget committee. We've already talked about that, we need to send the information to budget. That also brings up, the fact that we're gonna be reporting, sending this to budget, but we really can't do a whole lot until we get this ironed out. I don't think every 2 weeks is reasonable right now,
Iron it
because we
out.
have nothing really yet, we can't move on anything until we get our people.
Get our coordinator in place.
Yeah, so I mean, I'd like to at least meet once in November after budget.
Let's
because I
let's
wanna-
meet after budget, that way
After
we know if
budget.
they approved it or
Our
not.
meeting really ought to be, after they, try to coordinate, so we're kind of in that way. So I'm making a motion that we move, our next meeting to, give me a date, y'all.
November 30,
Well, that's right after Thanksgiving.
what's the week after?
Budget is the 13th, is that correct?
It is the second Monday, which is.
Yes, the 13th.
So you could do the
Yeah, the 13th.
16th if you wanted to.
November 16th. Anything going on that day?
I don't have anything that night, I mean,
I'm good.
I got a basketball game.
Playing or coaching?
Boys are playing.
Huh?
Boys are playing. I ain't playing. I mean, come on, Danny. I appreciate you, but no. Unless it's wheelchair basketball.
We could meet, well,
That'd save us an
depends
extra
on
trip.
it would, it depends on the resource authority meeting.
I forgot that they moved that.
We got committees running everywhere
oh, the resource authority is right before.
before, yep.
Commission,
It's
Oh.
not in this building
and
anymore.
sign is, but, well, we're gonna
That's
type
That's right.
They made you guys.
under my girl.
So what were we saying?
Are we required to meet in November?
We not required to meet
So what prevents us from bringing it back like on December the 7th, the first Thursday?
after budget.
That'll give us some
You'll
applicant
need to
times.
rescind the dates that you all
We'll actually bring the
pre-planned.
hired person directly in when they hire.
Oh, yeah, because we did it every other week or every other Monday.
Unless you
or
guys
Thursday.
wanna look at that, the resumes, we're just bringing the employee back at the end of the day, before we hire the employee.
I fully trust what you're doing.
Yeah.
Before we vetted, hired, sitting here, introduced employees.
I mean, please, like, I think I can speak for all, like, feel comfortable if you need us to look at resumes, like, we're always here, but I don't wanna
Well,
I
micromanage
am
you.
not an
background.
accountant and I'm not a finance.
No, I wouldn't know it, yeah.
I have very good checkbook skills, but I am not
Well,
in that business.
we want somebody strong in grants, next to accounting, and able to talk to a committee. It's not gonna hide in the corner and you can't hear what they're saying, so that's,
Well,
that's problems you run into with some accountants.
Like Daryl, he just hides in the corner.
okay. And the corner big enough to hide in, but
So we need
thanks.
to have a date for our next meeting,
So December 7th, maybe that Thursday?
sure.
Before you do that, you're gonna need to have a motion and vote on rescinding the,
I make a motion, we rescind the
Prior
previously
Previous every 2 weeks.
previously approved calendar.
Second.
Calendar, yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so let's move to the new thing, is a motion move our meeting to next meeting to December 7th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
At
5
5.
o'clock.
At 5.
Are you good?
Or 5:30. What works best for y'all? I know I work, you work. What's
5's good for me,
5?
That works.
because then I can, I mean, these usually go quick and I can eat.
As long as there's no traffic between here and Greenlee.
All right, we'll move on to new business. Our next discussion is a person to replace Judge Blanton. We talked about this earlier, and I firmly believe that we need, it's said in, I was reading through CTAS information, we really ought to have somebody with real life, maybe experience. The coalition had sent me a name of a guy that's been really active in opioid abatement programs.
That's actually this fellow.
This guy right here? I didn't call you because I hadn't approved it yet. So, if I can suspend the rules, I'd like to have him
Second.
talk.
So moved, yeah, second.
Go ahead, sir.
Yes. So I am Will Taylor. I am an individual in long-term recovery. What that means to me is, by the grace of God, I hang on to the end of this month. I'll be celebrating 10 years in recovery.
Awesome.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Through that process, I went back and gained a formal education. I have a bachelor's in psychology, clinical counselor by trade, worked in the nonprofit clinical world for about 4 years before I transitioned over and started doing contractor work for the state Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services. Currently now I float around into the contracting world with the state, operating with the faith-based initiative and the regional overdose prevention specialist team to help educate and prevent overdoses. Naturally, with my job, I was well aware of this long before many counties got involved, so I went out and did town halls, really just kind of educating the community first, because honestly, this is disappointing to me that no community members are here. Trying to just bring awareness of what's there. I've said and attended all the state councils, spoke highly, and been with several counties leading their committees into really just getting the ball going. That way we can get the money out and start hopefully seeing some relief to overdose, as well as just behavioral health as a whole. So, any questions y'all have, I'll be glad to answer those.
If I may, where are you working now?
I'm a contractor for the Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services.
Is that they're your only contract?
I work with the faith-based initiative and the regional overdose prevention specialist.
Do you see any conflicts of interest with the disbursement of funds and what you do?
Honestly, if anything, what I've seen across the board, I don't necessarily have a conflict. I reside in Sumner County. I am not going to be going after these funds. Honestly, I just want to give y'all input. If I can speak openly for a second, I kind of found it disheartening that we're looking for a coordinator with a financial background, which is understandable, but I heard in a conversation earlier, we want him open for discussion, but no lived experience there. You know, that's kind of wanting apples to be oranges at the same time, if that makes sense. Typically, what my experience says is someone with that background of accounting and grants typically does not have experience on what really needs to be implemented into really moving the paradigm in what we're facing with the pandemic.
Well, can I speak? I've got 14 years of an adult probation officer experience, sending people to rehab, Buffalo Valley, Centerstone, all the way across the state, Dallas, Texas, Austin, Texas.
Yes, sir.
So I want to reassure you that side of it's not being missed, hopefully, with me being on this committee. But we need somebody, obviously, to manage the millions and millions, could be potentially millions and millions of dollars that's coming through here. And this, just having the insight of what's needed in the public. I think that's the objective of this committee, is to look at the applications and say, okay, now we see the need, we know what's needed, we know how it works. Here's what we need to do, and can we do it with the money that we've got sitting there?
Correct.
So I think this committee will report back to the coordinator, and the coordinator will be back to us. It'll be a mutual way. It won't be the dictation of the coordinator, unless I'm terribly misunderstood.
Because I
So-
actually deal with, in mental health, I'm a psychiatric, I do psychiatry.
Yes.
And so I deal with a lot of that. So we have a lot of experience here. I mean, every one of us are involved in some way, church, whatever, but he's right, we're coordinating with both. so that we have somebody who will help us control and watch the money, because that's very, very serious. And then we have all of us that say, hey, wait, we really like to reach out to XYZ. So, yeah, that's what but you're right, I wish there were more people here.
The coordinator will just be providing data to the decision maker, so her and his experience with the opioid, they won't be giving direct input other than to keep up with the funds, provide data, and to do research. They won't be giving that type of input if it's appropriate.
Yes.
So you are here to request to be on the committee, am I correct?
I actually just come to see y'all's progress. I mean, I never received any notification from you.
No,
Megan did reach out to me and say that she gave you my information.
She did.
So
I
to
didn't
me, I'm
reach
blinded
out.
that y'all are looking for anybody. I personally just come to see the progress we're making here.
Your name was sent to me, but because I haven't got it approved, we have to approve all that, so I
Correct,
wasn't
yes.
ready to reach out to you as a whole
Yes.
in email. That's why you were not called.
Yes.
Not that it
So
wasn't-
to answer your question, I'm not requesting anything. I'm just here present to
To
see
talk
what's
about
going
it,
on.
okay. Well, thank you. All right, so that was a name that was moved forward, and so he has real life experience. He lives in Sumner County.
Could
Yes,
you
sir.
restate your name, please?
Will Taylor.
Will.
Yes, sir.
Taylor. And where do you live?
I live at 345 Old Highway 25, and that's Castilla Springs.
Cascade Springs, okay.
And I have that email that I got from the coalition with your contact information, and I'll share that with them now since we.
Perfect, thank you.
So, but anyway, so in looking, we need to request from the budget committee that we do need a replacement, and that, we need to they need to approve who we approve, so.
If, my suggestion, just procedurally, would be to have a name ready so that they can go ahead and put that person in, and then you can also, at that time, get them to say, all right, you have full authority to appoint from this point forward. Otherwise, you're getting the appointment, you're waiting another 30 days, and then we're trying to fill
And
it.
that's what we had talked about.
Or
Okay.
just directly ask them for the authority.
Yeah, let
Authority at that point, then appoint, because they still have a majority vote here, so.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Don't even put forth a name. Just
If
if
we
they
could
give
do
us-
this month, then they could go ahead and send the budget request, because the budget's coming up, and they could go ahead and send a request for authority to appoint non-commissioned members that vacate.
I'm just playing worst case scenario here, which is they say, no, I want to appoint, and then you can say, well, here's the name.
Right, I think they could, but.
If they wanted to run the
Hey,
committee.
that's what y'all pay me, is glass half empty.
So anyway, he's right, we should really get a name.
So I've got somebody in mind. I don't even have a clue if he would be interested. But he's a helicopter medic, flies all over everywhere, does all kinds of training. I don't mind reaching out to him and seeing if he would be interested.
So he would fill the EMS side of it?
I don't know. I mean, he's an instructor. He teaches the EMS side, plus he's a critical care nurse.
Because I actually wanted to add one more besides the citizen, the judge land
Right.
position. I
We
wanted to
talked
add
about
one.
82, I think. it
Yeah, it was
Right.
this one and then the EMS person,
So, I mean, it doesn't matter. I can get him to, I can ask him if he's interested and then bring that between now and when we come about,
Yeah.
Trent from Portland, Trent Dobbs.
Oh, yeah.
So that would be, the motion would be to request to add an EMS to the committee. Okay, so I need a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now that goes to budget. And then now on the person
His
with real life
problem will be his
experience.
schedule, I guarantee
Mhm.
you. He's got a crazy schedule.
I did have I was thinking about in the judge world, and I don't know,
Rotates.
Eric may even know this. Did the magistrates have anything to do with
Their conflict of interest.
but I don't know if they have anything to do with recovery court, do they? I know the judges, all the judges
Other
do.
than being a gateway into the
To-
court system, no.
So that may be another option too. I mean, you've got magistrates that would be familiar with the court system, but not have a direct conflict of interest because they're not involved in the recovery court. I'm just throwing out ideas because I know
Well, we don't have
we
a
hated to
citizen
not
with
have.
real life addiction experience on the committee.
Oh, I thought that was
Never.
Miss Morgan, I'm sorry, or Middleton, I'm sorry.
No, she's just a citizen, she is a nurse practitioner. She
Gotcha.
deals in it, like myself. But I do think we need somebody who's actually been in the addiction, has drug, like he is a recovering
Sure, no, I'm totally.
person.
So, may I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
So for Trent, and then, of course, we've been introduced to Mr. Taylor, and he's expressed some interest, so can I make a motion that we, or do we need to, that we make these individuals available to the budget committee if they so choose to be on the committee, and that way we have the names for budget if they wanted to go
I
to the
think
committee on
that-
committees. Otherwise, we can appoint them at next month's meeting, or in December, and
When we have the
Look
authority
forward.
to do what we need.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. So.
would you like to be on the committee, if possible?
Sure, I'd be glad, yes, sir.
Okay. So, yeah, so I'll make a motion, you made a motion.
Make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. So we took care of that. And then, Eric, do you have any more information on the bankruptcy filings and impact on the county as far as their funding? Yeah.
Actually, that's why I've been sending y'all those
Yeah.
detailed emails, so that if you had specific questions, I think that'd be the quickest way to get through it, because I could spend an hour and a half of your time going over that stuff, so I try to get it to you a little bit at a time.
Okay.
If you've got questions on what I've sent in the past, I'd be more than glad to entertain them. But other than that, what I've emailed is everything
And
to
then that
date.
information will be utilized by the coordinator as well.
Yes, I would
to be
assume
For
so.
forecasting and things like that.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
And actually, the coordinator would probably be getting with me, because we're still actively engaged in creditor claims in these bankruptcies, so there's a lot of legal stuff still going on too. And it's cost us a pretty penny to get to where we're at, so.
Drop it now.
Well, so Daryl, you'll get with
Yeah, I'll get with Trent.
And then if he's not available, we can always find someone else on the EMS side. So, okay, sounds like we got everything in a little bit of a list that we're gonna move forward with to budget, and then our next meeting will be on the 7th of December. And there's one more.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you all.